Hey folks, I'm Rob.
And I'm Nathan.
And we are Two Guys in a Ride. And today we're at the Minneapolis Convention Center, and this is the Progressive International Motorcycle Show. And, you know, what are we going to do today, Nate?
Hey, today we are going to take a look at a whole bunch of really cool motorcycles and some side-by-sides and some custom bikes and some builds.
Ooh, I'm excited about that. But hey, before we do, take a moment, hit that subscribe button below and
hit that bell notification up above so you never miss a video.
That's right. So what do you say, Nate?
Let's go look for a ride.
All right.
Hi folks, this is Nathan with Two Guys in a Ride, and today we're here at the Progressive Motorcycle Show in Minneapolis, and today we're here with Jordan from Union Speed and Style, right? And he's got a beautiful custom-made, well, we'll call it a Harley Davidson because it's at least got Harley Davidson painted on and a motor, right? But the rest of it's all custom-made.
Yep, yeah, it's all 100% handmade bike. What we did, we started with the concept with this. We wanted to do like a late 40s style bike that could have come out of the factory. Something that's like a concept slash race bike. So with that, we kept a lot of the styling cues very reminiscent of that era, but our own design. Okay. So.
I mean, that is just absolutely stunning. And we'll start kind of just talk about the front. First thing that comes to my mind are two things. One is three things. There's no fender. There's the beautiful rims with the blue painted in, you know, and around the center, and then the fact there's no front brake.
Yep, that's kind of keeping with that race style of the era. So the front end is actually the only piece on it that was an original Harley component outside of the engine. Yeah. The forks are a VL front end, and then we cut the lower trees and the upper components apart, machine those out, and then put it back together how the factory would have done it, but an inch narrower.
Okay.
Give it a little bit more streamlined look, but.
All right, so the front forks are original, although they've been modified, and the engine is original Harley.
Yep, and then we did a electroless nickel on the cylinders and heads, which would have been, normally those would have been painted from the factory. We wanted to kind of give it a little bit of a richer feel. And they did that electroless nickel on a lot of the earlier stuff, the JD and earlier era models.
And so for our viewers, what motor did this come out of, and how many cc's is it?
So that's a 1947 Knucklehead. It's the last year of the Knucklehead, and it's been punched out to a 74 cubic inch. So,
wow, holy buckets! Now I like your kickstart pedal. I don't think I've ever seen one like that. That's really unique.
Yeah, that's a military style, Harley military style kicker pedal, and then we shortened it up a little bit narrower than what a factory one would have been. So,
okay. Now coming back a little bit, we talked earlier about the frame. So there's some special things and some things you had in mind when you designed the frame.
Yeah, so the frame is a complete one-off. All of the forgings are actually individually machined components that we welded together and then smoothed out to make it look like early style forgings. If you notice on the front, lower the down tubes, they've got a little bit of a swept curve to them. So we tried to make the neck look very similar to an original, but because those are coming in at a different angle, we had to make an entire neck from scratch because of the angle of the down tube. So. Same thing with the motor mounts. Those are all individually cut and welded pieces that are been smoothed out to look like forgings. And the frame's got a little bit of a unique design to it with the lower, the down tubes being swept and then the rear legs being swept as well. It's a little bit of a different style. There's no real hard bends on it other than right around the cradle where the front engine mount is. So,
tell us a little bit about, I love these handlebars. Because you look at them, you think, well, where's the throttle? But it's all hidden.
Yeah, so it's got an Exile Cycles spiral cut internal throttle. So you twist it, runs on a bearing runs on a spiral, pulls the cable, and that's all ran internally in the handlebars. So.
And that's just it's a beautiful look. What are the actual, the throttle and the handle on the other side? What is that material?
So that's a custom set of grips that you can get through. I think Lowbrow makes them. It's a Jason Jesse line. They're supposed to look like cork. I thought it was a really cool looking grip. Look, it's modeled kind of after the factory style grips from that era, but different material.
Well, that's what I was going to say, but I knew they weren't built out of cork.
Right.
But I thought that looks like cork. Tell us a little bit about the gas tank. It's a beautiful look. It looks like it has twin covers. Is it actually two different tanks or what?
Yeah, so it's actually one single tank, but we made it to look like a split tank because that era would have had split tanks. And then, that's all hand hammered, custom one-off gas tank, and then we made a custom dash piece for it as well. That's all been nickel plated. And if you look at that, it's got a nice bead with a concave dish to it. It was a very complicated tank to make. It was a lot of fun to do.
I was just gonna say that. I mean, that's a work of art in itself. There, back on the fender here. This has some reminiscent look to some of the older Harleys. So tell us a little bit about the fender here.
Yeah, so trying to keep with that 30s, 40s era construction, we did a three-piece fender. So the centerpiece is all one piece. It's very similar to a knucklehead or panhead style with the flared edge, single edge bead on it, and then the two sides we kind of took some styling cues from the early JD fenders, and they had this little 1/8-inch style rib that we put in there. We kind of took that idea from them. Mm-hmm. So, and then the fender struts are completely handmade as well. That's just made out of stamped sheet metal that we put together. Had nickel plated. So
I love all that nickel plating, and you see it on a fair amount of spots on the bike. And I mean, it's just even the tubes that run between down here are all nickel plated.
Yep. Yeah, everything, all the bright work on it is nickel. There's no real chrome pieces on the bike. So bright work's nickel, and then the satiny looking stuff is electroless nickel.
I like the Harley Davidson Union Speed badge on the end. So that's what it will look like if you would have manufactured it back in the 1940s.
Well, that badge, actually, a friend of mine, Matt Olson, does a lot of knucklehead restorations and custom builds and stuff, and he had this water slide decal in his shop that was a decal from an old dealer back in the day. So that was the design that they had. We just put the Union Speed in and changed the address and whatnot. So that was kind of a cool piece.
I absolutely love it. It stands out. And now obviously when you got this motor, it had to be redone. I mean, you must have gone through this, just cleaned it up at least.
Yeah, the entire engine's been completely overhauled. It was done out at Carl Cycle Supply in South Dakota. They, like I said, they specialize in knuckleheads, so we brought it out to them and had them help us put it together. So
that is it's awesome. I love the seat. Now, was that made in-house as well?
Yep, the seat was made in-house as well. We made the pan, did all the foam work and the leather work. So we do a lot of sheet metal and chassis fabrication as well as upholstery. So.
Okay. So in putting sort of a shameless plug for Union Speed and Style, folks, if you're looking at this bike and you would like something like this, they can make you something just like this. Or if you have a custom piece that you need done for your bike or your car, Union Speed does that. Union Speed and Style, does that. And they're right in Osseo. Right. Do you have a website?
Yep, people can go to our website. It's unionspeedandstyle.com, and then also they do Instagram or Facebook. Our Facebook is Union Speed and Style, and then Instagram they can follow me at pineapple_J, J-A-Y. That's where I post most of our in-progress work and whatnot.
All right, well, Jordan, thank you so much on behalf of Two Guys in a Ride for sharing your beautiful, awesome build today, and for sharing a story of how you put it together.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
All right.